Hi everyone and welcome. My name is Shannon from thedailydIYer.com and I think all my OGs are going to appreciate this video as I'm going back to my humble roots and doing some woodworking today. I have been here on YouTube for 9.5 years now, and a lot of my early beginnings started in woodworking and I've kind of gotten away from it and I would love to get back into it. But today I want to share with you some of the wood projects that I created for my daughter's graduation party. Yes, she just graduated high school, going off to college, wanted to make it special for her. Not only are we going to do some wood projects, but I have a one-of-a-kind DIY to share with you that is going to include some of this PVC piping too, so hang tight for that one. It's a good one. So even though these projects are for my daughter's graduation party, this can be used in so many different ways. So get creative and use this idea in whatever way it works for you. First, we're going to start with some 1x6x8s, and we're going to make a beautiful, huge frame that we're going to use for a backdrop and photo area for this graduation party. So I am cutting 2 lengths of it down at the corners, 45-degree corners, because we're gonna make this look like a beautiful mitered corner frame. So 2 are gonna be shorter, 2 are gonna be longer, and you can of course adjust the measurements and lengths that are gonna fit your space, your event space, or you could totally take this down to use 1x2s and make these little bitty. So that's what I love about DIYing. You can really just customize the look or the project to fit your space and your function. So here's obviously we've got the 2 shorter pieces at the top and the bottom, longer pieces on the sides, really beautiful mitered corners, and we are going to put this together. We actually bought some L brackets for this, but I was afraid they were actually not going to be strong enough. So we just cut some scrap pieces of 1x2 down to fit the corners, and I added tons of screws, I think 6 screws into each one of these pieces of wood to make sure our corners were nice and sturdy because we are going to be standing this up. I loved getting back into all of this woodworking, and I kind of have the itch to do some more videos using some inexpensive wood, maybe some pallet wood, scrap wood, that kind of thing. If you'd be interested in that, hit that thumbs up button. That shows me that you enjoy these videos and you also want to see more of them like this. So go ahead, hit that thumbs up button if you want to see more, but we are going to keep working on this giant wood frame. And here we go, the moment of truth, standing it up nice and sturdy for us. Loving the look of this, loving the size of this. And I decided we're gonna add a little bit more decorative trim to this. So these are 1x2s, and we're gonna cut them down to the exact same sizes as we did the first 4 pieces. Still mitering at the ends there so we can add this trim to the outside. It is something so easy and such a very small investment to really turn a basic frame into one that has a little bit more character and style. So you can see I'm just making sure everything fits nicely here around those 3 edges, and then came in with my orbital sander. I like to use 80 grit sandpaper. I know a lot of people like to use higher grit sandpaper to make it even more smooth, but I always feel like 80 grit really gets down deep into making sure everything is good and smooth. And then I'm using some 1 1/4 inch brad nails to affix that nice pretty decorative trim to the outside. And then my husband added some 4x4s. You can see they're just basically cut down and then angled on the fronts and the backs, and then he screwed them into the bottom of the frame so it would stand up by itself. And the only other thing I decided to do, since we had some scrap pieces of 1x2, was to trim out the bottom. I just felt like it kind of needed it. It's probably not necessary, as you may not actually be taking a picture of the bottom of this, but in case you do, I just really want to make sure we had this looking nice and finished. So I actually gave hubby the job of doing all the staining, so I don't have any video of that, but here is the finished product after it's been stained and styled. So obviously I have a Western girl here, so she wanted a Western theme for her party. We threw some scarves on the top, some of her hats on the corners, and found this cute faux cowhide to use as a rug on the bottom. The perfect backdrop for the photo area at her graduation party. And here is my little girl. Oh my goodness, not so little anymore. So I have another project for this party using wood, and I wanted to take you back downstairs to my wood shop that you guys haven't probably seen in a while because they haven't really been down here a whole lot. So time to get back to throwing some sawdust here. I love my miter saw. It has been through a lot with me, building the she shed, lots of events and parties, lots of customization items, lots of renovating our home, and it has just been awesome. So I will definitely link all my tools and supplies that I use down in the description box below for you. But basically for this project, we're doing the exact same thing we did with the first one, except we're using 1x4s here, making a smaller version. So the same thing, making 2 smaller pieces for the top and then 2 larger pieces for the sides, mitering the corners. And this piece here is actually going to be a little photo display space. So we didn't get as fancy with this one because I'm going to be adding some other additions to this to be able to hang the pictures, but still using the same concept and using some extra scrap pieces of wood for the corners instead of using L brackets. It saves money, and honestly it's just as sturdy, making sure to also pre-drill some pilot holes through there as some of this wood was starting to crack on us. So drilling some pilot holes will help remedy that. So this is once it had all 4 corners all tacked up full, and then we're going to flip it over to the other side so you can see what it looks like on the front. And then coming in with my 80 grit sandpaper again and giving this a good sanding, not just the front side, but also the outside edges and the inside edges too. And then here's a better look at how my husband ended up attaching the feet to both of these frames, the bigger one and the smaller one. Still using 4x4s for all of them, but he pre-drilled some holes in the 4x4s and then drilled them straight into the frame of the wood. And you can see Honey, our little workshop dog, she's just grown up around power tools, so they don't bother her at all. And then obviously he went ahead and stained all that, and we're going to use a regular staple gun and some 4-ply jute to zigzag back and forth, stapling it on the back side to create a little hanging space for some photos. And here it is all finished, a nice little pairing with our big frame next to it. But you can see I cut out her name in some basswood in my X-Tool P2 that I love so much. And then I have every first day of school picture that I printed out and hung on there with some clothespins. And then we had like a wildflower theme going on with the Western theme. So she also pinned some of those baby's breath flowers onto the string as well to kind of fill it up and give it some more style. And now it's time to work with this PVC pipe. Like I said, creating something very custom and one of a kind. We ended up using 1/2-inch PVC and also some connectors to create a flower truck for my daughter. So this is my husband and his late father's Model A 1929 Model A that they have worked on together, and now it's going to get used as a flower truck for this party. We just love to have this little piece of memory of my father-in-law at the party too. So I already had some crates. I ordered some galvanized buckets to put in there to make sure nothing would like fall over, and then we'd have a nice space for those flowers to sit into. And then it was time to just really kind of start coming up with the concept of how we're going to build this canopy that's going to go in the back of the truck. So I also have this awesome little Ryobi tool that I've used a lot. It cuts through plastic and things like that like butter, so it came in handy for this project, especially because we did a lot of cutting. It's got a nice little safety button on it so it doesn't accidentally come down when you press the button, and it literally just makes life so much easier and helps a lot with these projects. So I'll definitely link that down below for you too. We're going to be taking the first smaller pieces of PVC and adding some 90-degree elbows onto each side of those, and those are going to be the sides of this canopy. So I don't have exact measurements for you because in the end, honestly, it's all going to depend on the size of your space that you're going to be making a canopy for. But I just want to give you a general overview of what this canopy structure looks like when we're done. So now I'm moving on to creating the 4 legs or the corners of this canopy. And as you'll see, we do some modifications as we go, as we start building this. And then, you know, it looks like one thing on paper, and then whenever you actually build it, it's a whole nother thing. So that's why I don't want to give you specific measurements or anything, because yours may need a little tweaking and adjustment as you go too. So here we have 2 legs, one on each side, and then I also had these 45-degree angle pieces for the front corners, and then we ended up putting a splitter, a 3-way splitter on the front, so we had the top bar good to go. Here's where we had to do some modifications though. We needed something to keep this together on the bottom, so we took off the elbow, the 90-degree elbow brackets in the back, and ended up putting on some of those 3-way splitters to add in a longer piece in the back. We're also going to add some more support at the top. So we're going to use these T-splitters to do that and put a little small piece on each side, and then we'll run a longer piece in the middle. That's going to add some more support for the canopy and the fabric that is going to hang off of the top. So as you can see, we have a 90-degree at the top, and we needed it to bend down to meet that other connector in the front. So very easy to do. You just take a heat gun, heat up your PVC pipe, not too much. We don't want to melt it too much, just enough that it has a little bit of give, and then you just kind of pull and bend it down and manipulate it until it comes to the right angle, so we're able to then connect it into that front piece. So this is a fun moment for me. I have always wanted a drill press, and we finally got one, and this is my first time using the drill press. So we did have to take the PVC pipe and drill a hole through the ends for the front bar, so that way we would have that front support. There wasn't like an angled bracket that was like a T or a 3-way splitter for the top, so this is kind of our remedy for that. Customizing and modification is just all part of this, and which is why we decided to use PVC pipe versus wood, just because we knew we would be able to bend it and cut it a little bit easier to work for us. So through those holes I added some zip ties, and that is what is going to connect it to that front bar. So I'm sure that was all a lot of information and a lot of word salad, but in the end, this is the structure that we ended up with. You'll see we have the 2 legs, the nice support in the back, the place for the canopy in the front, and then an opening in the front for gathering flowers. And so now it was time to do some spray painting. All this PVC has like words on it, barcodes on it, and stuff like that. Didn't look very nice, so just took some matte black spray paint and gave it about 3 coats. It was super duper hot this day, so it didn't take very long at all to get this done, as it just dried very quickly, coat after coat. So once that was dry, it was finally time to add the fabric onto the top, which really I feel like transforms this and makes this look much more fancy. I bought this black and white striped ribbon or fabric from Hobby Lobby. I bought 2 yards, but honestly I probably could have gotten away with just 1 yard, and then literally just attached it by flipping the fabric up underneath the front bar and using safety pins. Easy peasy. Did the same thing in the back, just a few here and there. It doesn't need a ton, and it's just enough to keep it on there so it doesn't fly off. Then we set this back down into the truck, and I was not happy with the height. I felt like you couldn't even see it from like just standing in front of it. So another little bit of modification was cutting down those back bars and then reattaching the top. Super easy fix, and that definitely did the trick. And then here's just a quick look of the basic canopy and setup. Then it was time to head to Trader Joe's, grab a ton of flowers. They have the best prices. So was able to get a bunch for not too much money, which I was happy about. And then I also want to show you some of the setup we have here. So I have a little cart, and I made a little logo for this party. So made a magnet for the truck and a flag for the canopy. And then the cart got a bunch of these mini beautiful glass vase bottles that I found on Amazon. I'll try to link every single thing I can down below. So we just kind of made a station for people to be able to go grab a vase, fill it up with water, and then had the little scissors there and a trash can there, another really cute fringed umbrella off to the side to kind of balance the look of it, and a little rug and a little sign off to the side and some more buckets of flowers. And this was honestly a big hit at her party. The little girls absolutely loved making their own bouquets and then making people their own bouquets. So it was a fun little thing for them to do. So I did lots of DIYs for this party, and this one was a great one. I found these spring labeled arch signs at Hobby Lobby for 50% off, and then I just painted it and added a decal to the front to make it more customized for the party, so I didn't have to build anything for that. But this whole look just really came together. It was a fun activity, and the venue had a garage door on the front, so we were able to open the garage door or close it and keep the air conditioning in. So it just really worked out to have this at her special day and her celebration. Then here is my mom, Alyssa's grandma. She's giving you a little bit of a look at how this flower truck worked in action. Alyssa helping out a little bit there, and her other grandma making a bouquet. So like I said, a fun and memorable piece to this party. I also want to give you a look at the inside of this venue. We made some wildflower bouquets, and I also made those custom logo wood signs for centerpieces, and of course lots and lots of memories and pictures of Alyssa. So this is a look at the favors that each guest got. It is flower seed paper that you plant, so keeping with that wildflower theme, and her logo, Alyssum, is a flower, so we use that for the little design on the logo, and then also little advice cards we had given to each guest to fill out. And then for the card and gift table, I had used an IKEA little terrarium, keeping with the flower theme, where you would grow flowers in as the card box, added her logo. And then instead of having a guest book, we did a guest cowboy hat that all the guests wrote little notes on as a keepsake for her. If you made it to the end of this video, leave Alyssa a flower emoji down in the comments below and any kind of advice you might have for her in her upcoming future as she goes off to college. I don't know how time goes by so quickly. I feel like it was just yesterday I was rocking her when she was a little baby, singing Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, trying to help her fall asleep. It is definitely bittersweet, but I am so proud of her and so excited for her future. Thank you all so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Hit that thumbs up button, subscribe if you are new, and I will see you in the next one. Have a creative day.